for the thing. So it was perfect. Let's see. Okay. So I've got some really great background ambiance. My little one is crumpling up a newspaper, using it for wings, which is exceptionally cute. And stopping by to say hi. Hi. She just wants to make the noises. So hopefully you'll be able to hear me throughout today's broadcast, today's live session. I wanted to do a bit of a reflection, a meditation, a sermon of sorts, but from a non-religious standpoint. So really a message, just to think about what it means to live spectacularly. And I think the idea of a spectacular life is so interesting, and it's so multidimensional, right? So when we think about something that's spectacular, and I'm pulling up some dictionary definitions here, we're thinking about something being beautiful in a dramatic and eye-catching way, and thinking about something that's on a stage, right? Something that everyone is looking at, where there's a big scale and a striking effect to it. And some words that go along with it are extravagant and display and spectacle and exhibition and performance, right? That they're eye-catching and splendid and iridescent and dazzling and stunning, right? Impressive. To live a spectacular life is something that a lot of us aspire to do. I think about myself and my life with my daughter. I think about where I see myself in the future, just of the end to the end of this year and moving forward into the future of next year and in the next 5 years and the next 10 years. And I realized that for me to live spectacularly is all I want. I want to enjoy a life where what comes to me sparkles and what comes off of me sparkles, right? That what I touch glows and that what touches me brings a light out of me. I want to offer that to the world, and I want that offered back to me. I want that positive feedback loop. I want to feed into postpartum women who are thinking about their lives in a new perspective and from a new place. And I'm recognizing that to do so, I have to challenge myself to be a spectacle. And now, when we think about a spectacle, there can be a pretty negative connotation to that term. So let's look. When we're thinking about a spectacle, we're still thinking about a visibly striking performance or display, a show, a presentation, an exhibition, a pageant, right? This is a vision, a view, a scene, a prospect, a horizon, right? Something that we're looking out onto, a picture or something that we set in front of ourselves that we're looking upon, right? But to perceive it is still key. But within that space of the term spectacle, we know that there can be some negative terms. So when we're thinking about the negative implications of the term spectacle, we're often thinking about a false or overly dramatic scene, right? We're thinking about a display that's on the edge of grotesque, something that catches our attention and turns us into a space where we feel disgusted and like we don't want anything to do with whatever that is, right? We want to push ourselves as far away from it as possible. We feel an utter and almost visceral ick to it, right? We just don't like the idea of becoming a spectacle. And I know that this is more of an older term and an older use of that term, but it stands today, right? That we really do avoid that creation of self as spectacle in ways where, you know, we feel vulnerable at a serious cost if someone else sees us that way. So it's ironic that I find myself trying to be of service in these very visible ways, like being on YouTube, like being a DEI facilitator, like connecting with community in some ways that are really difficult when it comes to conflict, and creating the space for conflict resolution, thinking about psychological safety and inevitably, right, the systems that create a lack of safety, how to address those. It's all quite a bit. And when we are doing these things from our own perspectives, right, whatever it is that you're most attracted to and you're most committed to, it often can feel like you're putting yourself out there in a way that other people are really not going to like and are really going to push against. Yeah. And the worst part is when we really hit that stride, when we are on the cusp of becoming whatever it is that we aspire to be, it's often when that pushback reaches its fever pitch, right? It's often when that pushback becomes the strongest, when the swells of the tides pull us back out to pull us back to shore if we're trying to get out to sea, or push us yeah. Or push us beyond what we can even think of when it comes to being set back. You know, we're on a financial journey and we end up thousands of dollars in deeper. We are on a weight loss journey and we gain 20 pounds. We're on a lifestyle journey, right? Where we're trying to learn as much as we can. And we watch the most unhelpful content we can find on all the social media platforms and get stuck doom scrolling. We're on a postpartum journey of self-acceptance. And we go, I want to accept myself, but my body is different. Maybe I just have to accept that. I don't want to put myself on display in that way. I don't want to show these stretch marks. I don't want to be in a place where I have these rolls and these new dimples and divots. Yeah, mommy's talking about her dimples and divots. Yeah. And the thing is, when we're in these most vulnerable spaces and we make a decision that we want to live differently and that we want to have different, it's like that's when everyone wants to offer us more of what we were trying to get away from, whether we liked it, whether it worked for us or not. And a perfect example of that, yeah, a perfect example of that for myself is being live on YouTube right now. So for me, being live in this moment feels insane. Why? Because I'm on this stream that I planned ahead of time a couple of days ago. And no one's on with me yet. My channel has, as of today, I believe 13 subscribers, which I'm super excited about because those are 13 people that I get to connect with. And so I couldn't be happier about the fact that I have any subscribers. Oh, 14. Hey, we gained one in the middle of this conversation, right? So I'm not a big channel. I'm not even a proper small channel in some ways. And I'm on here anyway. I feel a little bit like a spectacle, but a spectacle that somebody might turn around and say, what is there even to see? Who is she to call herself a spectacle when, in all honesty, what is she providing? What is she doing? Who even is she? You know, this woman got onto YouTube Live with her baby thinking that we'll just be entertained by what she has to say. She's going to be here and, you know, waste my time. She did just talk about how unhelpful some of the content on social media can be. Maybe she better start by shutting up herself. Might not be wrong. But I refuse to let that be the thing that gets in my way of showing up authentically, because I want to live spectacularly, even if that spectacular life requires me to be a spectacle. I was speaking with my cousin, which I absolutely love to do, and it wouldn't even matter which cousin because I happen to love them all. Lucky me. And while we were talking, she had brought up something that I thought was super interesting. Just this idea that we shouldn't share any news or anything that we feel we don't want to be shared with other people if we will not share, okay, let me try that again. So what she had said was, if we are sharing a secret and we share that secret with somebody in confidence, we shouldn't be upset if that person shares our secret if we share our secret with someone else. And the idea here is that we shouldn't be afraid to become a spectacle if we're willing to make a spectacle of ourselves. And I haven't decided exactly how I feel about that for a couple of reasons. One is, if you're speaking in confidence, That means that we're trusting this person. We're giving them a bit of ourselves. And especially my cousin and I are both postpartum. There are several of us who had children in the same year. But when you trust someone, really trust someone, and you give them a bit of information about you that you feel vulnerable with, and they take that information and say, I'll hold it for you. My hope would be that that person would really do that, that they would hold that space and let my secret breathe and live between me and them. In other words, if they wanted to talk about it, that they would be like, hey, how's this going? Or are you good? Julia. So I got unplugged. I have a tiny human, bless you, who loves to pull the cords. I need cord management. Ah. Okay. We need cord management. We really need cord management. Excuse me, that was my sister. So if someone else has my confidence and I give them my confidence, do you want to play? And then we can come back to the conversation? You're nuts. You're going to knock yourself out. This is awesome. Oh. Okay. I see. So you came over here because Miss Rachel turned off? Mm-hmm. You're not. You're not. Hold on. You gotta use your feet, Peanut. Okay. This little one will not be happy until she has something to do. So we're going to find it for her. That's a terrible noise for your mouth to make. It's not good. You should should breathe with your whole mouth open. You should breathe with your mouth open. Either that or you should use your nostrils. Better? Okay, so back to being a spectacle. Which I'm clearly doing one way or the other right now. When it comes to being a spectacle, it's terrifying. But I was telling you about a little chat that I was having with my cousin, and I'm really thinking about it still. So when it comes to being a spectacle, what do I think? I think that if I give you information, a secret, and you take that information, this live should have been count the number of times that my daughter screams while I'm talking. Do you feel lonely? Do you feel lonely? Yeah. Do you want to say up, up, up? Good job. Does that feel better? Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, you'll see principles of gentle parenting just casually being spattered throughout this live because gotta use it every day. Like for real. Oh, sweet Jesus. So this baby is my everything. And also, I have a whole life. And I'm trying to live it. And I'm trying to be good for her and to do good by her. And today, I guess it's a little bit difficult because I'm realizing that in a lot of ways, I don't feel like I'm accomplishing that or achieving it. But I'm wondering whether or not that's fair, all things being considered, and all things being considered equally. Because the truth is, we're all always doing the best we can, right? That much I know. The other thing I know is that no matter what I think I could be doing for her, there's always going to be something I could be doing better. The best thing I can do is be really consistent and considerate of what those things may be and try to be fair with myself, but firm, right? And give myself some of the gentleness that I'm giving to her, which means being direct, being clear, having real standards and expectations. So you're watching me work my way down from being a little bit overstimulated with all of the yelling, with all of the frustration, with the day that I've had. But here we are. And I guess that's part of what it means to be a spectacle. If someone were to share my secret, and if I were to share someone else's secret, and someone was depending on me not to do that, and then I went around that expectation, I wouldn't feel good about whatever it was that I gained from doing so. I would feel like I hurt them. Is it necessarily the case if they're out there spreading their business everywhere? Yes, I believe so, genuinely. Because the point isn't to keep the secret unless someone else tells it. The point is to be a safe person. And when it comes to becoming a spectacle, it's being willing to be seen, to be perceived, and to let go of expectations. There is no safety or protection in that. It's not a secret. It's relinquishing the right to secrets almost. Not because you don't deserve privacy, which each and every one of us does. And we always will have, because the one thing no one can ever know is what we're thinking or how we're feeling. We have to trust one another to believe that we have a good idea of what it is that somebody else is thinking or feeling. So I'm certainly not saying that we don't have a right to privacy. Instead, what I'm saying is to be a spectacle is to relinquish the expectation that anything outside of what we control strictly within ourselves, and I mean within ourselves, could ever be kept away from the public eye in a way that, you know, you might as well walk around naked all the time. And as a postpartum mother, I think that's exceptionally difficult to accept, because that level of expression and that level of perception that other people would have over me in that moment, it gives them a great deal of power. There's power in being the viewer. If you watched Nope, you know what I'm talking about. Viewers were the names of the aliens. But there's power in being the viewer. There's power in being the person consuming the content. You're curating what ends up in front of you and deciding what has a stage and what does not, what gets talked about and what does not. And without the promise of confidence that we have with our friends. And that's why I've respected the creators and the artists and the performers that I've ever seen, whether they're performing in the corporate space, in the nonprofit space, on a stage, musically, poetically, in a coffee shop, doesn't matter. I've noticed that when it comes right down to it, I've always respected those performers because they're giving over the power of what comes next with what they share in favor of sharing something precious to them with others. And if you want to have a spectacular life, we each kind of have a duty to become that kind of spectacle. A spectacle that others can see, can perceive, and hopefully relate to, connect with. And that's pretty unique. Not a lot of people are willing to put themselves in that position consistently. Not all audiences are built equally. And honestly, doing it with no audience, I'm recognizing, is really difficult, because nothing makes me feel crazier than being on a camera and talking into the ether, knowing maybe people see me, maybe people don't. But also, nothing makes me feel more alive than the idea that someone might see what I'm saying, might connect with what I'm saying, might understand this from a different perspective, and might benefit from it. Especially if that person is in their postpartum era, no matter how close to delivery and labor they are, whether it was yesterday, a year ago, 7 years ago, or 20 years ago. Because my hope is that I'll help people build a deeper and stronger connection and relationship with themselves that can spill over into the relationships with the people that they love and who they parent and to whom they relate, and create a community where that's possible. To offer that is to become a bit of a spectacle. Yeah, to offer that is kind of to embarrass myself a little and be unsure. And as I look, I'm seeing, let's see if I can get to my YouTube channel and visit the chat. Let's see. Let's see. I'm actually having a hard time finding this live stream. Yeah, I actually don't know how to find out if anyone is seeing this. Hopefully, no one is trying to chat me and I just can't see it. Let's see. Okay. All right. So the good news is there's not like a person in here who's like, Tanya, I'm here. Why are you ignoring me? I see you. Okay. So that's a little bit better. Um, so I love that you can actually click and see people's comments on the screen. That'll be handy when there are so many people here and checking it out. So that'll be nice. Whew. And I guess what's funny about tonight in particular, I'm in the East Coast, so it's kind of like later in the evening. But one of the things that is, I think, really sticking out to me tonight is I challenged myself to go live on Instagram, and I didn't think anyone would look. But occasionally people stop by, and then it just felt like normal. And so when I'm thinking about becoming a spectacle in this postpartum era, I'm also realizing that there's so much about who we are that changes. And as far as not only our understanding of ourselves, but then like really what we have to do as people when we're responsible for a human being, whether it's physically or emotionally, psychosocially, whatever it is you want to consider. But all of those things really count and add up. Yeah. So becoming a spectacle no longer is just about us as individuals, right? There's somebody else who could end up paying the price for our decision making, even if they're completely innocent. Ow. Even if they're completely innocent. And there's something particularly difficult about digesting that idea, because we want our children to be safe and we keep their confidence. But when we make a decision to be a spectacle in a postpartum era, we are recognizing that a person who's a part of us in so many literal and spiritual maybe ways is really relying on us to keep their confidence while we are expressing ourselves. And I think one of the difficult parts of, I don't know, just processing what that looks like is recognizing exactly how we can get out of our shell without protecting the ones that we're looking after. But it all comes from, I think, a style of parenting that doesn't necessarily serve us. And by us, I literally mean myself and my daughter, where control is a part of the dynamic. In a lot of ways, becoming a spectacle means relinquishing control, right? We control ourselves and not much else. And when it comes to parenting, it's a process of letting go and releasing control from me. I'm a gentle parent, which means that I think about my daughter in terms of her needs, her expectations, her desires, her goals, her wants. And I try to offer to her things that directly respond to those concerns. And I try my best to do so in a way that shows her she's a part of my universe. And she is central to my universe. And she's also a part of a bigger universe. And there's larger systems at play that she can participate in or not as she chooses, and give her the tools to navigate them. And coming from that perspective, having a mom that's a spectacle really is just practice for her to say, well, my mom gets out there and does her thing. And some of these things I'm cool with. And some of these things I don't really want to do when I get older. And we all do that anyway as we grow and develop, right? We say, I want to be just like so-and-so, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my guardian, my grandma, my grandpa, my, nona or nanny. And the thing is, no matter who we want to be like, or myself, if we're really self-evolved as kids, but no matter who we want to be like, no matter what we want to do, we're always deciding how much we want to integrate of others into ourselves. Even if we turn out wanting to be a carbon copy of someone else, you painstakingly recreate the things that made the other person who they are in your eyes. But no matter what, it's an intentional process. And I think becoming a spectacle, we try to create art with who we are, to make ourselves shimmer and shine in ways that catch the eyes of other people. We can commit to and connect with that. And oh, she's sleeping. But as we're building for ourselves, I think we get caught up in trying to create the conditions for us to control how our decisions affect other people. But we can't do that. The best we can do is give our heartiest, healthiest, most thoughtful responses when things don't go the way that we would prefer them to go, to enter a situation with as much trust and care and consideration as we can, and to believe that the best thing possible will come out of it, even if we can't see what that is. And so when I think about all the best YouTubers that I watched, they're 100% who they are. They're 100% all in. And I think it's so freaking awesome. Miss Rachel being a teacher who's a character of a teacher who connects with toddlers so that they can learn and grow. It's incredible. There's a person who makes, recipes from old recipe books. I don't even know what period of time they're from. But the way he reads ingredients is so cute and so hilarious and so eye grabby. And he does that whole sale wholeheartedly, puts his whole everything into it. And I don't know, I just respect that so much. Uh-oh. I think the thing I'm most I don't know if this will make a difference. But the thing I think I appreciate, looks like your camera was unplugged. Plug it back. It's definitely not unplugged. So it must be that it's trying to pick up my camera somewhere else. Where is the question? But I've been thinking about it, and I think the way that people show up and make a spectacle of themselves in this space, it pays off in such beautiful ways, not because they're just out there being messy. Some people are, and I love and respect and actually think that that's pretty daggone hilarious, I'm being honest. But it's more than that. Like, sincerely, it's more than that. They choose to be so full on within themselves in whatever it is that they're doing. And I aspire to give on that level. So as I think about, what I want these live streams to be, because I will be out here talking to myself until somebody decides they want to come and say hi. I'll be out there like I'm talking on the street until somebody sits next to me. I think I'm just going to spend this time I don't know. the thing that comes to mind is just affirming and loving on somebody and letting other people join in the chat, and maybe you share with me what it is that is going on with you, and I take some time to really talk to you about how loved you are. And I say that because one thing that I haven't made abundantly clear from my channel yet is that I'm a gentle mom. I'm a single Black mother. I really, really am doing this on my own for the first time, and I'm an elder first time mom to boot. I know that there are so many things that I could be doing better in this life, and so many things that I can learn and grow and do better. But if there's one thing that I actually believe I'm super good at, if there's one thing that I know I have spent my life preparing to do, it's fulfill the mandate of a scripture that I love very much. And like, for people who are not super into Christianity, hear me out, because I think you won't hate this particular Bible verse. Love ye one another as I have loved you. You also must love one another. And another verse, love your neighbor as yourself. Now, I actually love myself, so I'm doing all right. And I really love other people, like so much. And I would love to 2 times a week make a spectacle of myself telling you just how much. I wouldn't hate that, especially if people join me. Otherwise, I'll sound a little bit crazy talking to myself about how much I love you. But it won't make it less true, no matter when you see it. So I wonder how you might make a spectacle of yourself. What might you do? How will you show up in a way that no one else but you will show up, because only you are in that body, in that mind, with your experience, with your expectations of the world, and your responses to the best and the worst in us? What do you have to offer, and how will you do it? I'm so looking forward to people who are going to be joining me in this space, and for creating this space in a way that is meaningful and beneficial and valuable to you. I hope to be a reliable source of serotonin. There may be moments where, like earlier in this call or on this live, oh my God, call. Can you tell I work from home? Earlier on this live, my daughter will be running around doing her little thing. You might see the top of her head occasionally. But here's the thing. In all of that chaos, in the spectacle of what is my life, there's the heart of me. And the heart of who I am really wants to give, to be of service, to offer love, to center that. It's how I approach my parenting. It's how I approach my postpartum journey. It's how I approach this exercise project. And it's what keeps me balanced and sane and feeling whole when everything else honestly feels like it's broken in like a million pieces. so shattered, I guess. Because the truth of it is, I could feel bad about who I am easily. I'm someone who has so many asymmetries between who I am, who I want to be, and how people experience me. And sometimes I wonder about my value to other people and my value to myself. And that's not an altogether unreasonable conclusion for me to occasionally stumble upon. How helpful is it for me to be in this world? How helpful is it for me to show up? I can make a spectacle of myself, but when no one is there to see, it doesn't matter. If I'm not serving anyone, could it possibly matter? And I think the answer has to be yes, because I'm here. But I also feel a little bit out of touch when I say that. I have to convince myself on a lot of levels that how I show up, it's not embarrassing. It's empowering. That when I choose to put my face on this screen while I'm in the interim and I'm trying to build up who I am and, grow my hair, shrink my waist, snatch the cheeks, the neck, the décolletage, learn my style. As I'm trying to figure those things out, I feel radically unfinished, underprepared, and unimpressive. Quite the opposite of spectacular. But we deserve to be spectacular by our own definition, at least. We deserve to feel like who we are and how we show up is pretty awesome. Even if other people look at us and go, you? Let's see, I'm going to take a quick look. Okay. So I was checking out a YouTube channel that I'd recently stumbled upon. I'd seen that she posted so many live videos, and it made me curious how long she usually stayed on for, how often she recorded. And she's pretty prolific. It's a lot of times that she's been on for a different amount of time each stream. Yeah. Huh. Wow. She is a pretty cool person, from what I can tell. Really committed herself to, yeah, building herself up the way that she wants to and becoming a spectacle, which I think is pretty freaking baller. Um, hmm. Yeah. Anyway. uh, hmm. Maybe one of the things that could make these kind of conversations more interesting, more connected is talking to someone else. There's just sparking an idea. Maybe I can actually give affirmations to someone while actually online with them. I think that would be pretty cool, pretty special. So that might be an approach that I could take. I think that would be really nice. Yeah, I love that. Okay. Um, but yeah, this was a challenge for me to try and like get myself into that place. I think I'm gonna just work on committing to getting on live, planning when I'll be on live, and actually sharing that with you all, and really get to business as far as getting those affirmations out there, um, and really supporting people who are in this journey, who are really trying to do this thing. Because as much as I ask that question of myself, I know I'm not the only one. Entering a new space, uh, like parenthood, like motherhood, and being in that postpartum period, again, whether you adopted your child or gave birth to your child, there's a healing that has to happen because there's a version of us that was gone in an instant, despite the transitional period, whether it was working super hard to get the child um, into our home, with devastating challenges that our children face out there, or whether it is surviving the pregnancy, which whether men and women think we are built to do it or not, it's not easy and it's not a guarantee. So I say surviving and I mean it. But whether it's surviving pregnancy or getting children into a safe space within our home, within our four walls, things happen over time and all at once in little and small ways that we anticipate and in ways that we absolutely could not possibly have seen coming. So I'll be back live again, and I'll definitely take some time to continue to connect with you all. I'll make that commitment knowing that the first few times maybe we see each other in live form and maybe you see this a little bit later. um, I'm just going to keep all that cringy content in case somebody one day wants to look back and say, what was your first live video like? You'll see that this is technically not the first one. I have a test video from a long time, well, not a long time ago, from recent, but it's very short. And hopefully over the years that I am doing YouTube, you will have to really search and find it. Your little scavenger hunt. And in the meantime, I'll be creating hopefully some valuable content for you all, offering you connection and serving you all in a way that is meaningful and beneficial to you. But we made it to the hour mark. So I am going to put this sleeping little girl down and get on to my Peloton because I've got some writing to do and some thanking to do as I go ahead and make the next recording for next week. So I will see you all real soon in the next live. Keep an eye out. I'm planning on doing at least 2 times a week in the start, probably on Wednesday and Thursday. And then hopefully we will spread out to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as I get more comfortable and start to really get into the swing of things. So more to come. But for now, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I thank you for checking in if you're checking into this later. Yeah. And until next time, I'll see you soon.